What's going on, football fans? It's me, J.R. Clark, back again with another Pound for Pound ATL. Joined as always by my co-host Jonathan Holder. Jonathan, what's going on, brother?
Man, it's going good. Looking forward to a little bit of a cooler weekend. Get some rain going on. Try to bum around the house as much as I possibly can. Uh, make up for last weekend being super busy and out of the
Oh,
house
dude,
all weekend.
yeah, this whole week has been like nonstop. I don't mind looking forward to kicking my feet up tomorrow night when I get home from work and hopefully just chilling, which would be nice. Well,
Yep.
we are coming together tonight, to record another installment of our free agent forecast. Um, This time we're going to be looking at the mainly the secondary. Uh, if y'all are watching this, obviously on Friday, the combine like got started in earnest. We're
Hmm.
starting to like really hear from some players, and I'm not going to spend a ton of time on that. That's not why we're here, but it does kind of lean into what we're talking about tonight because it seems like the Falcons are talking to a lot of cornerbacks and a lot of safety types, and so which is not necessarily surprising with the brain trust that is in place.
Lot of DB coaches.
Yes, Raheem, Jimmy Lake, Jerry Gray, like
Yep.
they've all that's where they really like made their hay, cut their teeth, however you want to like slice it. So that's what we're going to look at today because I feel like there's a real good chance that we're going to draft a guy, and I feel like there's a real good chance that we're going to sign at least one guy.
Hmm.
And it may be one of these guys that we're going to talk about tonight. So, without further ado, let's just get into it. So, first up on our list is one of the hotter names. I mean, he played with Kansas City. Just won the Super Bowl. Actually just got their franchise tag. But
Well, so I heard that, but then I heard that they had not given him the tag uh, but gave him permission. They still might do that,
yeah, they
but
got a window, so it's like it might be like a tag and trade kind of situation.
right.
And what we're who we're talking about obviously is Legarius Sneed, the like all world corner, like Swiss Army knife, however you want to like. He's was a very integral part of that Kansas City defense that really is what drove them to the Super Bowl this past season. And he's a guy that I know Raheem Morris and Jimmy Lake and Jerry Gray would just absolutely be salivating to add him to this mix. Um,
Yeah.
he's like he primarily played. Let's see if I got. I'm gonna see. I should have pulled it up already. Sneed, PFF, because at least gives
He's definitely a big
he was a
slot guy.
mainly a nickel guy. Um, Obviously more coverage than anything else. I'm trying to see if I could figure out like where he took his snaps at. Anyway, I'm not going to sit here and do this while we're recording, but mainly played in a nickel. But nickel has become an extremely important position in the
Mhm.
NFL. Something that we talk about quite a bit. You spend so much time nowadays with uh, extra DBs on the field and in a nickel packages or in dime packages, and you got to have guys that can hold up in the both in the run and in the pass. And his overall grade for PFF is 71.1, which is above average, and his run defense is above average, like is both a 70. So he can help you out there in run defense, which is great. Um, Passer rating allowed is 55.9, so he doesn't allow many completions and he doesn't give up
Mhm.
many yards on the targets that he does allow.
I mean, he's a dog.
Yeah, right.
He is an all around, like. There's not really anything you can look at and say, oh, that's a super weakness of his game. Um, like you said, he's a Swiss Army knife kind of guy. Just it, he would be a really really nice piece. You put him in that secondary with Jesse Bates and
and
AJ
AJ.
Terrell.
And, yep.
I would be completely down with that.
Right. So here we're gonna like just highlight one of the plays against Philadelphia Eagles. Just show you kind of what L'Jarius Sneed would bring to the table. Now, look, I'm
All
not
right,
as
where's he at on this?
if I'm not mistaken, he's right up here up top.
Okay.
Okay. I watched this one earlier. I don't have this stuff memorized, so y'all have to forgive me on that. But I believe he's right here. So let's take a look. He ends up getting the interception. So if we have to watch it more than once, we will. So nope, I was way off, wasn't I? Oh, this ain't even the right play, is it? Oh, that's what it was. He was tackling Brown. I looked at that play because I wanted to see if it was worth looking at. Here we go. Let's get back up here. Now he's up top. I knew on the interception he was up top. Y'all forgive me on that.
All right. Start moving up with him.
See, the whole time, what I like is he kept his eyes on the quarterback the entire time, right?
Yep.
And jumped the route. Because if you watch AJ throws his hand up like, "Hey, I'm open," right? And he throws his hand up, but Sneed is really baiting. It's a bad throw by Hurts,
Yeah.
but that ain't on Sneed. Sneed capitalizes, sees it's a low throw and breaks on the ball. The hand goes up. I'm open. No, you ain't.
I agree. Like, keeping him, keeping his eyes in the backfield, watching the quarterback. He he had good makeup speed. Had good instincts on it, and he looks the part. No matter where he's at, what he's doing, he passes the eye test, obviously.
Big time.
But it doesn't seem like I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that he's not really good. In part because of the defense in front of him, getting the pressures and not having to cover guys for at least not very often having to cover guys for 5, 6, 7 seconds. Being able to no, I'm only going to have to do this for 3, 4 seconds max. Um, you know, this, like, before the end of the season or before recently, like, this guy was not even a thought in the mind that we would get him. Because for one, I thought there's no way they let him walk.
Right.
Um, and if but now it sounds like he wants out. Like he potentially just wants out for whatever reason. And if we can try to finagle something somehow, some way, then I'm not necessarily going to say no to it.
Heck no.
Depends on like what other plans are they looking at. I mean, there's the Justin Fields stuff. Obviously, are you going to go up a second? Because I think if you're going to trade for L'Jarius Sneed, you're going to give up no less than a third, but probably closer to a second.
More than
To get
I would.
to get a Sneed. So if you want to go get Sneed, does that mean that you can't go get Fields because now you
That's
don't have your second round pick?
or does it Terry get into the f them picks mode and is trying to put together that Rams model in a sense of get guys who we don't have to necessarily wait on, who can come in and contribute right away and make a difference and make it count. And it also depends on what Jerry Gray and Jimmy Lake want, as far as, hey, we're going to ask a lot out of our secondary.
Mhm.
We need guys who can do it and who can pull it off. So uh we'll see how that translates. I mean, this to me would be amazing to pair Sneed. Sneed to me would be like he would be the Jesse Bates of this year as far as
Yeah.
uh free agent signings and stuff like that go. So now I'm going to move on to the next guy. Now we don't have no film of him just because I didn't go. He didn't play this year, but I want
Mhm.
this was one of your guys, so I want you to take this one away.
Yeah, it's Emmanuel Mosley. The guy's been in, he's still a fairly young guy. He's been in the league since 2018. Spent 5 years with the 49ers. Was very productive in those years. You know, was a part of that really good defense. Moved out to Detroit. Unfortunately, got injured. Now, it looks like he signed a 1 year deal with Detroit. Kind of
Right,
let's see what you got. Got injured. Maybe he doesn't come back again for a second season. So you get a guy who was already on a 1 year deal, coming off an injury, who's the guy's been pretty good. In his career, not spectacularly good, but
right,
he's been pretty good, and he might be a little bit cheaper than some of the other options that we're looking at. If you're planning on, again, let's say you do want a L'Jarius Sneed, but you also maybe you're thinking we want to go get Justin Fields too. Do you have the draft capital to pull that off? Do you want to deal with that headache of trying to figure that part of it out? And
right.
instead, you go get a guy like an Emmanuel Mosley to give him a 1 or 2 year kind of prove it deal, um, to see if he can make his way back.
Yeah, and it's not out of the realm of possibility or realm of Terry Fontenot doing that. I mean, he's these past 3 years has handed out a ton of 1 year deals.
Mhm.
Some by nature the first 2 years, but last year, there's a lot of guys on the defense that he handed out a 1 year deal to. Bud Dupree, and that's one of the first ones that comes to mind. But and we didn't necessarily have to last year because we had the money, right?
Yeah.
But he still thinks that at least has shown that that's a tool in his tool belt to hopefully get
Mhm.
the best out of a player, and just kind of like looking at his last year in San Francisco, um, he had an overall good defensive grade. Uh, Tackling was not the greatest, pass rush, but obviously he's a corner. Like, why are we
Yeah.
even grading pass rush of a corner? But coverage is 73. He had let's see, trying to see, no batted passes. Trying to see if there's any. He had an interception and three
Yep.
pass breakups.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean he's a guy that they're obviously feel like they need. Jeff Okuda, you could argue he did or didn't work out. Started off strong, kind of petered out, got
Hmm.
injured again. So, you can argue that they're still looking for another guy to be across from AJ and a potential if AJ plays hardball, next offseason kind of thing.
Yep.
Um, and so they're looking at guys at the draft, obviously, but guys like this, you could potentially, hey, come in and battle with a Clark Phillips and battle with a um like D Alford and some of those guys
Yep.
for position. So I would definitely not be against bringing Emmanuel Mosley in on a uh like a 1 year kind of prove it deal.
Yep.
So
But like I said, like he's definitely a guy that I can see if they're planning to spend big in other areas. This is a guy you
right.
bring in to not necessarily to be the guy, but he's a guy that you bring in to kind of shore up that area of the defense. And then you go spend big in other areas to try to compensate for that. So,
Exactly. All right, well, let's move to the very back end of the defense. Last year, we obviously brought in the bell of the ball, Jesse Bates, and uh, at times, like we were out there running Richie Grant out there, but that was met with a mixed bag. I
mhm.
don't know if his rookie season having to be forced into different positions just kind of messed up his development, or he just some guys just don't make the transition very well. And
Yeah, well, he didn't play a ton in his rookie season. Like Pease just didn't play him.
well, yeah, well, and then when he did, it was like he was playing them at nickel, and he
Yep.
didn't play safety hardly at all, right? Um, so last year, let's go ahead and put this up just while we're talking about Grant. You know, you looked at 51 over, 51.5 overall. His coverage is like damn near abysmal.
Yep.
Run defense, like he played better at the closer to the line of scrimmage, right? But
Yep.
if you're playing a defense where you need to you want to have your safeties be more interchangeable, then that's going to be a problem, at
Oh
least
yeah.
so far with Grant,
But
right?
well, and what we saw last year, and what we even the year before, we saw a little bit of it. What we felt with Grant was he was much better up closer to the line of scrimmage. Like he was
Right,
very much more strong safety material than he was free safety material.
right,
Anytime he was in the deep field, that's where he started to have problems.
right. That's where he started to have some issues, recognizing that. So, uh, a guy I want to take a look at. You suggested him, and I thought it was a good suggestion. It was Xavier McKinney.
Mhm.
So McKinney is more of your traditional like free safety, 6 foot, 200 pounds, second round pick out of Alabama. Overall, last year was really well regarded at 87.8 overall for PFF, but he had a 91.2 coverage grade,
Nice.
which could be just a product of being like playing on a uh, Wink Martindale defense where they're constantly lighting up the quarterback, like bringing every crazy blitz, humanly possible. But still,
Yeah.
uh, it was well played. And let's see, I'm gonna play this clip over here so that I know where McKinney is before I put it on tape there. Let's
He
see.
had three. He had three interceptions last year. Looks like he had a shortened third year before. Only played in 9 games. 2021, he played in all 17 again and had 5 interceptions. So half the time in the league, he's had you know you pretty good years interception wise.
Right. I mean,
So
he's more of your prototypical free safety. I'll be with them doing like with them getting a different defensive coordinator up through New York. It's always interesting to see who they let walk out. So he's up here in your single high safety look, doing your center field. Now I don't know if you would want two of those like that same type, but we'll see. So he recognizes it, drives on the ball, and just undercuts it beautifully. We'll start that over again to get my mouse out of the way. So he's like I said, he's up there in the top, watching, backs up, back pedals, recognizes what's going on, and then just steps in
yep,
front of it.
yeah,
Like
he does.
you, you can't ask for much better than that. Like legitimately,
Yeah, no,
as
he
far as free safety is concerned. Now the
yeah.
question then becomes like, if you are going to play more of a too high shell, which is what the league seems to be going to, right?
Mhm.
Or that too high safety, quarters, half, quarter, half, whatever, like um, coverage, archetype you're looking at or architecture that you're looking at, having two guys like, that can do that can easily take away half the field on their own, uh, could lead to some extremely like interesting coverages, in my opinion.
Yeah. We'll see how, we'll see what it ends up being. Xavier McKinney is definitely like, I wouldn't be mad at bringing him in. Um, we have to make sure we're shoring up our run defense, like a front seven run defense, because I don't necessarily think, I don't necessarily think he's a liability or would be a liability. I don't think that plays to his strengths to come and be and he's going to be the guy that's going to stop a runner, but he's not going to be a guy that's going to stop a runner, probably around the line of scrimmage that
Yeah, no,
often.
yeah, like he's last line of defense, right?
Yep.
Like if they break into where he's meeting them one on one, he seems like according to uh, PFF, his run defense is a 70.5, so it's a good run defense.
Yeah.
But it doesn't like break down like where, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
is he making the tackles at? So it's probably further down the field if I had to make a real guess. Now, the next and last guy that we're going to talk about, if you want somebody who's willing to stick their nose up in there, definitely got the size to do it. Got some good coverage chops, but is more of a, at least size wise, more of a strong safety, but has decent coverage, not as good as McKinney by any stretch, but has good run defense. Overall, 61.7. Uh, Run defense is his strongest suit, 79.6. So he's definitely more of the strong safety type, and that's Kyle Duggar.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, if you're going with a interchangeable type safety or somebody that gives you a little bit of different flavor than uh, Jesse Bates, then Kyle Duggar is definitely uh, a guy that you could easily pair with him.
Yeah. No, he's definitely much more you know, closer to the line of scrimmage, can play, the deep safety looks. But I think, and I don't think he's necessarily a deficient in that. But
No,
again, it's kind of the opposite of McKinney. Like he can get it done, but he's far better at being the guy up closer to the line of scrimmage, uh, being a little bit more of an enforcer kind of guy, but with some decent coverage skills. So,
right. Yeah, and so I might try to find a different play, but at least I'm going to show this one. So Duggar is chilling up here in a what appears to be like a cover two type look. So keep your eye right there. Can't ask for much better than that.
I mean, yeah,
For having a ball just thrown at you.
yeah,
So, but like I said, you're not asking Duggar to do a ton there, but I mean, good recognition, especially with the way that Miami plays.
yeah.
It's more
That could
about
be
getting.
like that could if you're not on your toes with Miami, it can turn bad real quick.
Oh yeah,
So what seeing him, you saw him like shuffle back and forth, and that's him watching. You can see, he's watching Tua in that one. He's watching him the whole way, but he also feels the guy behind him.
yep.
Is what it seems like there. He's able to feel like, hey, this guy broke he broke it off.
Hmm.
Whether he recognized the concept, maybe he had seen that particular formation and that particular play, and it stuck out to him,
Right.
and he recognized it based on that. Whatever the case may be, he seemingly felt that guy behind him break off his route, and into a dig, and so he was able to get himself right in position to do it.
All right. So I found another play because Duggar had himself a game against Miami. He was
Yeah.
all over the place. So let's watch here. He's down there close to the line of scrimmage, and boom!
Yep.
Like if you want to talk about what you can do, some of the things that you can do with Duggar, is you know you can send him on a blitz, um, and get you a sack. Shabam!
Nice.
I love that. Love
I
the
love like I would love. I know that's not necessarily the kind of defense we're gonna have, but one day, I really would like the Falcons to be that kind of defense. That's just like, but with the guys that can do it properly, right? But my favorite kind of defense is not the we're just going to send four, and we're going to put a bunch of guys in coverage, and we're going to are those is that the ideal from a
Oh yeah, I was about to say,
coach's standpoint? Is
yeah, a
that the
DC will
ideal?
tell you all day long if they can get home before, they're
Yep.
in heaven.
I totally understand that completely, and I agree. If you can do it, by all means do it, and don't listen to me. I want like the old like with Brian Dawkins Philadelphia Eagles defense that sent like it seemed like every single play there was a guy blitzing from somewhere. Uh
That old Rex Ryan, like I'm gonna blitz every play. Todd Bowles, those kind of guys.
what was the guy he was there forever. Uh something Johnson. Oh, what was the Philadelphia DC? He was there forever.
Talk
And
about
I think
you ain't talking about Schwartz, are you? Jim
no,
Schwartz?
no, no.
No, okay.
He was an old guy. He eventually I think he left. Let's see, it's not Monty Kiffin, is it? No.
Now Monty Kiffin, that's your Tampa two, kind of guy.
Old.
So yeah, I don't know who you're talking about there.
Not Jonathan Gannon. God dang it! That's it's something Johnson. Uh,
Jim Johnson? No.
yeah, Jim Johnson.
Jim Johnson?
I'm pretty sure that's. I think it's.
Jim Johnson, Eagles.
Yes.
Let's see. D as a coach, Philadelphia Eagles defensive coordinator from '99 to '08.
Yeah.
Jim Johnson. Yep.
Yep. That dude. He was there during like the Reed era. Like you said, that's when you had like Brian Dawkins and a bunch of those guys. And Brian Dawkins, that dude had would have like 3, 4, 5 sacks every single year because he was blitzing
Oh
all
yeah.
the time.
Yeah. I mean, when you got a Brian Dawkins, you send him on a blitz.
Yeah, but
You know?
they had a bunch of other guys too.
Yeah.
But like I said, like I like that kind of now. Granted, I understand like if you don't if you're not successful with that, you're going to get lit up. So I
Oh yeah.
totally understand it. But I want to
Yeah,
at
but you
some
got to get
point in the
home.
future. At some point in the future, I would like for the Falcons to have the successful version of that kind of defense because I think that is aesthetically like just me
Now,
watching the game.
as
I think aesthetically that is the best kind of defense to watch.
as we're recording this, and I'd have to look into it a little bit more, but I'll pull this up just so it can be seen. This breaking news: the Saints just released safety Marcus May.
Ooh,
Now, a couple years ago, when he was with the Jets, Marcus May was a guy that I was really wanting for the Falcons. So that might be something to look into as well. Uh, like I said, that just came up, so obviously didn't make it to the video. But yeah, Marcus May could be an interesting ad there,
yeah, I would not say no to that.
right? Well, I think that's going to necessarily do it for us. That's the people that we had to talk about today. Though there's plenty of different options out there. I really do feel like they were going to potentially add one and draft one. Uh, myself,
Mm-hmm.
but if they do add one, like L'Jarius Sneed would be the belle of the ball, in my opinion. The things that you can do with him on the roster, but any of those guys would be an interesting add to the secondary, and I really feel like we're going to get a really revamped secondary with Raheem and Jimmy Lake and Jerry Gray. It seems
Yeah,
like there's going to be a maybe I'm just reading too much into their defensive back, coaching past, but it seems like they're probably going to put a decent amount of resources in that area.
yeah, they definitely like they definitely seem like a build from the back kind of group. Could be wrong,
Back to
but
front kind of.
yeah, build start the secondary, get that shored up, and then in their mind, they're thinking like, well, if we can cover for an extra second, that gives our guys up front that extra second to go do their thing. But I would much rather it be the other way around. That's just my own. Like if somebody were to sit here and say, how do you want to build your defense? Like me personally, I'm going to always say I want to make sure that I have my front seven squared away. Once I'm sure that that's good, then we can start working on the back end. Um, but yeah, like but I'm that same way on the offense. Like give me the absolute best offensive line I can possibly get. And then it'll make things a whole lot easier for everybody else. Same thing here. You give me the absolute best defensive line that I can get, and the cornerbacks and safeties, just like what I was talking about earlier with Snead. You look at a guy like Snead, and I'm not saying he couldn't do it. I'm not saying that at all, but he had a really good defense in front of him that was putting pressure on quarterbacks to get rid of the ball
Oh,
in
it's
a
a
timely fashion. And when you can rely on that, again, it's not going to happen every single time. But when you can rely on it, that 3-4 seconds max coverage that you have to do on snap in and snap out, that makes playing cornerback and playing safety that much easier than you don't have a pass rush. Guys are sitting back there for 3, 4, 5, 6 seconds, and then running around for another 3, 4 seconds, and then you're having to cover for damn near 12 seconds. If you're having to do that on a consistent basis, you're not going to be successful in the NFL.
I've always been of the opinion that at least give me one unit that I can consider elite.
Yeah,
Whether it's D line, whether it's the no fly zone type situation, like give me one group I can hang my hat on. And you know your different your philosophies can go a bunch of different ways, but if you can give me one group that I can definitely hang my hat on, then I feel like you got something going at least in the right direction. So it'll be interesting to see what they do as far as free agency. We're almost exactly 2 weeks out. Let's see. Yeah, we are one day short of 2 weeks out from the start of free agency. So we're going to have some answers soon. That much is for sure.
wait, it's the 14th, right?
13th. It's
Oh,
March the
okay.
13th. Yeah.
Yeah, we're
So
just under two
just
weeks.
under
Yep.
2 weeks. Yep. So, all right. Appreciate it, folks. Thank y'all
Yep.
for joining us this evening and watching this pre-recorded madness. Sorry, I wasn't necessarily on my game. I got like allergies going on, and it's got my head all jacked up. My wife
Ah,
jinxed me. So
ah,
yeah.
wives
So
are good
anyway,
at
they are that.
that.
As always, folks, y'all can follow me on Twitter. I'm at Grimm1128, GRIMM1128. Jonathan,
You can find me at Jonathan M. Holder. Come by, say hi.
there you go. We'll be back live on Tuesday, maybe with a guest. You never know. Putting some feelers out. Hopefully, we can get something. And who knows what fun stuff we might have to talk about. So we appreciate it, folks. And as always, rise up.
Rise up.